Hello and Happy New Year to all Addis Dialogue viewers. This is Intayo Tamrat with this edition, and my guest today is Ambassador Samad Ali Lakazadeh, Iranian ambassador to Ethiopia, and the ambassador has been here for the last 10 months, and we will just try to talk about two major issues. These are the Ethio-Iran ties over the past 70 years, and also how Iran has survived the sanctions, the severe sanctions by the US government, and what lessons other African nations can learn from Iran sanctions. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you, Your Excellency, Ambassador Samad Ali Lakazadeh, Iranian ambassador to Ethiopia.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Okay. Your Excellency, would you please briefly mention the Ethio-Iran ties over the past 70 years or so?
In fact, Iran and Ethiopia both are very important countries located in the important strategic location. Ethiopia in the Horn of Africa and Iran in the heart of Middle East. There are lots of similarity between two great nations, old and ancient civilization, and important countries. In fact, as I said, both are among the ancient important civilization. Both are among the great nations. Iran and Ethiopia enjoying a very historical background in their bilateral relation. Both Iran and Ethiopia are large-sized countries with the considerable inhabitant and population. Both are independent countries, always were independent and never been colony of the other countries. Besides that, also Iran and Ethiopia both are the true symbols of pluralism because they are rich in diversity in their internal issues and nations, cultures, religions, ethnicities. Rather than that, Iran and Ethiopia both have a strong belief in the multilateralism in the international arena. These are the important similarity between two important and big nations and countries, which served for years. I'm not talking about the years or decades or centuries. I'm talking about the thousands of years of bilateral relation. Based on these similarities, strong and strange similarities between two countries and two nations, Iran and Ethiopia were in contact and created their ties from the early ancient times. In fact, our historical background of our bilateral relations dates back to 2,500 years ago, during the Persian Empire in Iran. During the Iranian well-known Achaemenid Empire in the ancient period, we found the inscriptions in southern part and in western part of Iran, the ancient old inscriptions in which you can find the ancient name of Ethiopia engraved in the stones, Kushia. It's belonged to more than 2,000 years ago. That is an important and good sign of the historical ties and relation between two great nations and two important countries from the early ancient times. Also, as the historian says, when Iranian empires invaded Greece in the ancient time, among the Iranian troops, there was an infantry unit composed from the Ethiopian citizens with their traditional clothes and painting on their skins and on their bodies, which is another sign of the deep contact and relation between two sides. You see, within the history, because of the Achaemenid Empire, especially when they were ruling almost half of the then part of the world at that moment, at their age. Even in another invasion of Iranian troops to Egypt, Ethiopian citizen and Ethiopian national were present within the Iranian army. You see, there are lots of signs and marks which indicate the good cooperation and contact between Iran and Ethiopia from the ancient times. That's not all. Let me to refer to the Mani, Iranian well-known prophet and painter from the ancient time again. He mentions in his manuscript China, Iran, Aksum, and Rome as the four biggest and important countries at his age, almost 1,800 years ago. Then we have many signs that we were in touch and we created contact and we built bridge and ties between two countries and two nations, not only in trade or cultural exchange, but also in the military aspects. And let me to add another dimension of our bilateral relation in the ancient time. At 5th century, when there was a big and important struggle among the Iranian Christian minorities, Ethiopian church sent a religious delegation to Iran to help Iranian Christian to solve their problem. In fact, it was a mediation delegation for reconciliation between among the Iranian Christian at that moment. You see then, regarding the ancient time, we enjoy military, religious, cultural, and trade exchange and contact between two nations and two countries. Coming back to the Middle Age, you can find many times the ancient or the ancient name of Ethiopia, I mean Abyssinia, in the Iranian classic literature. You find it many times in many works, many manuscripts, many poems, and many books. Rather than that, also in the 17th century, we can find another or some more marks and signs of our bilateral relation. If you can visit Harare Museum here in Harar, you can find many cultural objects belonging to Iran and some other sign of the continuation of bilateral relation from the ancient time until the Middle Age. This is regarding the historical background of our bilateral relation. But if we come to the contemporary period, of course, the first contact started within the League of Nations. Then authorities from both sides, they decided to take advantage of this bilateral historical relation and to renovate our modern diplomatic relation and to use the strong similarity between two sides to resume the bilateral relation and to consolidate the ties between two countries. After the Second World War, and of course, few years before of the royal family's visit to Iran, Haile Selassie the first visited Iran, we officially established our bilateral diplomatic relation exactly in 1950. Last year was the 70th anniversary of the establishment of our bilateral modern diplomatic relation. This year, as 2021, is also the 50th anniversary of the implementation of Treaty of Amity between two countries. That means we are enjoying 71 years of bilateral relation and 50 years of friendship and friendly relation between two sides and two countries. During these 71 years of bilateral relation, of course, we had lots of exchange of delegations, and we had many MOUs, agreements in different fields to consolidate our bilateral relation, and all that was in favor of two sides, two nations, and two countries.
Your Excellency, in what major areas are the two countries cooperating so far?
First of all, our cooperation is marked by the political and diplomatic cooperation. As I said, we established our diplomatic relation. Officially, we signed the Treaty of Agreement, the Amity Treaty or Treaty of Friendship. Based on the strong belief of two sides to the multilateralism policy in their foreign affairs and their foreign policy, we are very good cooperation, especially within the international organizations such as United Nations, Nine Alignment Movement, G77, and many other local, regional, and international organizations. Within the political and diplomatic aspect of our cooperation, we use the opportunities to support each other's stances in the many international and regional issues. Apart from that, we took advantage from the reciprocal support of each other's candidacy and each other's membership in the organizations and for the international posts in the international organization. These are the main importance cooperation in the political field. We used many opportunities to exchange views and experiences in whatever related to the diplomatic and political issues. This is one part or one aspect of our bilateral cooperation. The other one could be the cultural cooperation between two sides, science and cultural cooperation. You know, we offered many scholarships to the Ethiopian students. Even at this moment, dozens of Ethiopian students are studying in the Iranian universities in different cities, in Tehran and other cities, mostly in the medical science, mostly, but in some other fields as well. Rather than that, our embassy has a cultural branch just located in the next street. Our cultural center offers opportunities for the Ethiopian scholars and students to study Persian language and Iranology. This cultural center has also a small library useful for the Ethiopian, for those especially are interested in the Iranology and also Persian language. Apart from that, in line with the empowerment of the Ethiopian women, the year before this pandemic, our cultural center organized a big and important workshop. And the result was to learn and to train almost thousands of Ethiopian women how to wove Iranian carpet. You know, Iranian carpet is #1 in whole world. And generously, we offered that workshop to the Ethiopian women in line with the empowerment of the women project. Very recently, last week or the week before, we organized a webinar between the Iranian Prominent Institute for Political and International Studies from our side and the Institute for Political and Security Studies in the Addis Ababa University. From our part, we are completely ready. Of course, is the situation, this pandemic situation, after this pandemic, if the situation is okay, we can offer many art exhibition, and many other exhibitions to show to the Ethiopian people the diversity of Iranian culture and tradition and civilization. We also offer opportunities to the Ethiopian side to come to Iran and to show to the Iranian people, to introduce to the Iranian people their rich culture and diversity as well. Coming back to the third part of third dimension of our bilateral relation, let's say the economic and trade exchange between two countries. As I said, during last 71 years of bilateral relation, we managed to sign more than 20 different agreements and MOU in different fields, such as cultural cooperation, health cooperation, agricultural cooperation, industry, trade, many other, science and technology, many other fields. This provided us exchange of high-level delegations headed by sometimes prime minister, deputy prime minister, different minister, bilaterally visited each other's country to boost the economic cooperation and trade ties between two sides. From our side, Iran possesses many capacities, especially in the industrial level, in the high-tech, in science and technology, in construction. We can offer too much to the Ethiopian side, and of course, you know, we are importer of the raw material as well as the agricultural item and product, food product. Then Iran and Ethiopia seems our economies are contemporary, are complementary to each other, and we can use many opportunities to boost our bilateral relation in field of the trade and economy as well.
Well, thank you so much, Ambassador. And let's direct our attention to another issues like foreign government's intervention in countries' domestic affairs. And your country, Iran, has been just subject to sanctions by the U.S. government for a longer time. And why is that? And what are the consequences, as well as just how has Iran survived that sanction?
These sanctions and pressure exerted by United States against my country is basically because of the tyrannic and imperialistic nature of the United States regimes. They have problem not only with Iran, but with every other countries and nation would like to remain independent. These are the main and basic reason for the intervention of the United States in Iranian domestic affairs and exerting all kinds of pressures and especially the sanctions. Right after the Islamic Revolution, we faced many problems. All was agitated by the United States. Because of that that unique reason. We decided to remain independent, but according to their nature, American would like everybody and every country to obey them. This is the main reason. Although they pretend to be the defender of the human rights, freedom, prosperity, development, security, but unfortunately, all that are just the slogans on their mouth. Look at to the Middle East, what happened there. It is more than 7 decades, the United States of America supporting the occupation, the racism, the apartheid in the Middle East. They pretend to be the defender of the democracy and human rights, freedom, but they are the biggest supporter of the dictatorships, not only in the Middle East, in Latin America, Africa, Asia, especially in the Middle East. They don't intervene only in Iranian affairs, they intervene all around the world, in Asia, Latin America, Africa, even in your country. Look at the military bases they have all around the world. In East Asia, in Middle East, in Europe, in Latin America, even in Africa. Why? They pretend to be the fighter against terrorism. Ridiculous. The biggest and largest terrorist group in our time, in our contemporary age, was ISIS, Daesh. Many countries in the Middle Age were affected by the terrorist activity of the Daesh. Who created Daesh? As a journalist, you may have heard, for sure you heard, State Secretary Hillary Clinton said, we, American, created Daesh. And they pretend to intervene for fighting terrorism. They created terrorism. They are supporters of state terrorism. There are, in fact, to be honest, many other reasons for their intervention and also for the pressures, sanctions against Iran. First of all, because we don't want to obey them. We would like to remain independent because we were an independent country always through our history. We were the independent country. Then we want to remain independent and rule our country according to the interest of our people, not according to the instruction issued from the White House. This is a good reason. Another one, because we would like to use our own resources for the sake of our own people's prosperity and welfare. If you need another reason, yes, because we respect our own civilization, culture, customs, tradition, and our own lifestyle. We refuse the American lifestyle. And lastly, because we would like to use our equal rights as a sovereign country according to the international rules and regulation, and not act as a puppet of the United States. Each of them is important enough reason to pressure us, to exert pressure to Iran, and to impose sanctions against Iran because of these reasons. These are the good reasons. But how we survived these 4 decades of high pressures, inhuman sanctions, let me, to correct your question, to adjust it. Not only we survived this situation, but only but also we jumped forward. We made lots of progress despite these sanctions, pressures, interference in our internal and domestic issues.
Your Excellency, let me interrupt you here. And can you mention to my audience what are just specifically the major sanctions by the U.S. government?
They impose sanctions in every aspect, economic, trade, banking, transport, even medicine, especially during this pandemic. They sanctioned it. They banned vaccine for Iranian people. They used every opportunity, and they issued almost 2,000 decrees in different levels to sanction Iranian people. Our banking system, our shipment, even our authorities, our officials, they sanctioned our officials, our authorities. But what happened? Fortunately, we managed not only to survive, but also, as I said, to jump forward and to make lots of progress, many progress in very sophisticated and also high-tech area. We made lots of progress in biotechnology, in nanotechnology, in cyber science, in spatial science, in military, in medicine, in nuclear science. Despite all that sanction, we made lots of progress. Why? Because of many reasons. First of all, we are not a country created by the colonial division. We are inheritor of an important, ancient, great civilization and empire. We are inheritors of the Persian Empire, with more than 2,500 years of experience of ruling and governance. Because of the wise leadership and brave and fearless authorities we have in Iran, they made every decision only based on the interest of the Iranian people and Iran as a country and as a sovereign country. Because of the full support we enjoy and we got from our people who are aware of the plot made by the United States and its ally against my country. Because we strongly believe we are in the right path. We believe in our legitimacy, and we believe we are in the right path. And we believe that the Almighty always stand on the right side and won't let our alone. Because my country located in the very important strategic location in the heart of south-north corridors, west-east corridors, because we have 15 neighboring countries. With all of them, our economy is interlinked. And because there are lots of countries all around the world, they seem to be the allies of the United States. But in fact, they hate Americans because of the tyrannic and imperialistic nature of the United States. And they don't miss any opportunity to help us. And just let me to say two more reasons how we survived this situation. These two reasons also could be ones, we are trying to put and to push the dollars away and to use our national currency, doing trade with some other countries, bilaterally to use each other's national currency instead of using dollars. And secondly, as I mentioned it before, we use also the barter mechanism in our trade exchanges. These are many reasons how we survived this inhuman, strong sanctions imposed against us by the United States. And also we made lots of progress in different fields, especially in the important, high-tech, and sophisticated areas.
In relation with this, just let me raise some good points. Cuba is also as a strong country like yours, and it is just 60 years sanction that has been laid by the US government on Cuba. And Cuba is the country that was denied the medicines for the pandemic. What they did was just trying to create some sort of innovation. They used their own vaccines, and in moments of trade embargo, they were just trying to use the same innovations to use, for example, their own machineries, inventing spare parts for their own machineries. And how about just the Iranian lesson?
In Iran also, we are very proud actually to use our own vaccine. Because of the sanctions, we tried to produce our own vaccine. And we managed to do that. At the moment, we are using Barakat, the name of the Iranian vaccine, produced 100% in Iran. This is regarding the vaccine and facing this pandemic, coronavirus. But that's not the only field, as I said before. We made lots of progress. Now we are a producer of different kind of machinery, especially the different cars. Not only we produce that in Iran, but also we export to the other countries. In Senegal, here in Africa, you can find Iranian car production line. We created a factory to produce car. That's sanctions. That's true. Iranian people suffered a lot from that sanctions and pressures. But that gave us opportunity to fall on our capacities, on our capabilities, and in our resources, in our knowledge. You know, Iranian people are among the very knowledgeable people, very well educated. More than 60% of Iranian students are the daughters, ladies. And they are very active in different fields. Then we used these sanctions, although they were harmful. But we used the opportunity to increase our capacity, our capability. When United States imposed 8 years war against Iran by our neighboring country, Saddam Hussein, we were importing even shoelace for our soldiers. Now, you may have heard about the progress Iran made in the military aspect. At the moment, we are exporting even military product to more than 40 countries. And also different type of machinery, different type of the home appliance, different type of the industrial product, electric product, engineering services, and many other goods. We made all that thanks to the sanctions imposed by the United States against us. We very well used this opportunity. And now Iran is among the 25 economy of the world, despite all that sanctions and all that pressure against Iran. From our part, coming back to our bilateral relation, we are completely ready to exchange our experiences and our views with the friendly countries such as Ethiopia. Let me complete that we have a lot to offer to Ethiopia. And of course, we need Ethiopia to supply us and to provide us some agricultural and food product. We can provide the all electrical, petrochemical, medical appliance and product, industrial product. We can increase our bilateral relation with the exchange of views in the political, diplomatic, international, and regional issues. We can boost our bilateral trade if we were able to use the barter mechanism with Ethiopia. We can offer even much more. We have a very important and useful experiences in line of fighting terrorism. Martyr General Soleimani, you may heard, Iranian hero fighting against ISIS and Daesh in Syria and in Iraq. We were among the frontier fighting against terrorism. We have lots of experience. Iranian experience could be used for fighting terrorism in the east of Africa, in Horn of Africa.
In fact, the US government, its allies are trying to pressurize the Ethiopian government so far, since the new government has come, I can say, but particularly since the onset of the war in Tigray. And they are just taking the issue to the UN Security Council, and they are also trying to put unilateral sanctions on the government of Ethiopia. What is your government's take on that, and what is your government's stance against that sanctions?
In fact, it's an important issue, could be among the bilateral, mutual political consultation between two countries. I use this opportunity to encourage Ethiopian authorities, especially my colleagues in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. As I said, we are ready to offer our experiences in every aspect, especially in this issue as well, to the Ethiopian friends. We have lots of experience in this regard. We are completely ready to share this experience. It needs annual, regular political consultation between the authorities of two countries. We are completely ready. We formed our new government weeks ago. We have our new president and our new Minister of Foreign Affairs. For sure, you are also going to form your new government starting from October, yeah? Sure. Then it would be a very good opportunity to use the formation of new governments in two countries as an opportunity to start new dialogue and cooperation in the interested issues such as the foreign interference and also sanctions and pressures against Ethiopia. Even human rights issue. We have a regular, yearly dialogue, human rights dialogue with many countries. This could be also another opportunity to share the experience and views with the Ethiopian side. We are completely ready to establish human rights dialogue with the Ethiopia as well, to exchange views, to get stronger against these very valuable universal values which is misused by the great powers such as United States, again the countries such as Iran and Ethiopia, those would like to remain independent and keep their independence, and those who are keen regarding their own tradition, culture, independence, resources. These are the new area we can cooperate, and we can boost contacts and establish dialogue and cooperation.
The concluded Ethiopian year is a sort of year for the grand Ethiopian Renaissance dam diplomacy, that Ethiopia almost won or gained a huge diplomatic victory in the international arena, that is the United Nations Security Council, and Egypt and Sudan took the issue there, while it was good just to settle the dispute here under the auspices of the African Union. And what is your country's take on that?
Good question, again. First of all, we do support African solution for African problems. This is our basic stance regarding the African issues and problems. It is endorsed by the African Union. You have, and your authority have, a strong belief in this solution. Then let's say we support your authorities in this line. African solution for the African problems. No need to take the issue to the Security Council, United Nations, or other regional or international structures. We believe that Ethiopia has right to use its resources for the sake of its own people. As a diplomat, I am living only 10 months here in your countries, but I am facing shortage of electricity. Then you have completely right to complete GERD, to forward and to supply electricity to your nation, your neighboring countries even. Regarding to the GERD issue and to the border dispute with Sudan and Tigray issue, of course, strongly we believe and we advise the related countries not to miss every opportunities based on dialogue and peaceful manner to settle every dispute and every conflict. This is our main position regarding to every conflict, every dispute. We prefer and we suggest and we endorse and we support every solution based on dialogue, peaceful manner, according to the international rules and regulation.
What are just your last few remarks for any African nation, or just those nations like Iran who has just passed through some severe sanctions by the US government? What should they say to the US or its allies?
We have two messages. One for the United States and its allies. You are not the right defender of the human right, democracy, security, prosperity, as you pretend. Have a look at Syria, Iraq, and recently Afghanistan. What happened by your intervention with the pretext of supporting democracy, human rights, freedom? Look at Afghanistan, look at Iraq, look at Syria, look at Libya. These are the results of your intervention, your pressure, your sanction. You destroyed all that countries. You ruined all that countries, that nations. You won't succeed. Stop that atrocity. That's unilateralism. That's tyranny. That's imperialism. This is one message to them. But also to their allies. Look at what happened to the American famous allies in the Middle East and North Africa. Even were traitor to their own allies. What happened to the Hosni Mubarak in Egypt? What happened to the Ben Ali in Tunisia? What happened to the Abdullah Saleh in Yemen? They were very close allies of United States of America. United States of America only using them as long as they are serving United States interests, not their own people, their own country's interest. When they expired, United States put them away. This is one message to them. The other one, to the countries suffering from the sanctions, pressures, interference by the United States and their allies. Resistance. This is the symbol and milestone of my country, could be used as an experience for the other one. To remain attached and loyal to what they have. We have, and you have, many assets, our own people, our country, our territory, our resources, our friends, our experiences. The country resisted against and before this pressure, like Iran. Not only we survived, we made lots of progress. And we have many friends. Even our influence increased in our neighboring countries, in our region. And it is valuable, it is respectful, because we don't want to misuse our countries, our friends, in line with our own interests. No, we believe in the peaceful manner, peaceful coexistence, and cooperation, fruitful cooperation among the nations, among the countries, among the peoples. These are my message, both to the United States and its allies from one hand, and to the friendly country like Ethiopia from the other hand.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, Ambassador Samad Ali Lakizadeh, Iranian ambassador to Ethiopia, for joining Addis Dialogue. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dear Addis Dialogue viewers, this is a conversation with Iranian ambassador to Ethiopia, Samad Ali Lakizadeh. Thank you for joining Addis Dialogue.